The birth of the Buganda people. There lived a man named Kintu, who was lonely on earth, until Nambi appeared from heaven. They fell in love immediately. From their union emerged series of tests, pain and happiness. This is the legend of Buganda Kingdom. Long, long ago, before the first kingdom rose from the red earth of Uganda, before the drum beats of ceremony echoed across the hills, there was silence. The world had only one human being. His name was Kintu, the first man, and he wandered the endless green plains with nothing but his beloved cow, Namugulu, whose warm milk sustained him through countless lonely days and empty nights. Day after day, Kintu would sit beneath the spreading branches of an ancient acacia tree, stroking his faithful companion's neck, whispering to her in the quiet. "Dear Namugulu," he would say, "you are my only friend in this vast empty world. Will I always be alone?" But Kintu was not as alone as he believed. Far above, in the shimmering realm of heaven, someone was watching. In the sky kingdom of Gulu, the great creator and king of heaven, lived his 3 beautiful daughters. The youngest, and most curious of all, was a princess named Nambi. Her eyes sparkled with wonder about the mysterious world below. One day, unable to contain her curiosity any longer, Nambi peered down through the clouds with her sisters. "Look," she exclaimed, "there's a man down there. He's all alone." Her eldest sister scoffed. "Why would we care about earthly beings? We have everything here in heaven." But Nambi leaned closer, her heart stirring with something she'd never felt before. "There's something noble about him. He's the only one of his kind." And so the 3 daughters of Gulu descended to earth. When their feet touched the soft grass, Kintu emerged from the forest and stopped, frozen in amazement. For the first time in his entire existence, Kintu saw another human being. Who are you?" he breathed. "I've never seen anyone like me before." Nambi stepped forward with a radiant smile. "I am Nambi, daughter of Gulu, king of heaven. And who are you, lonely wanderer?" "I am Kintu," he replied simply. "I have been alone here since the beginning of time." In that moment, as their eyes met, something changed forever. Nambi felt her heart awaken. She had never experienced such warmth, such an immediate and powerful connection. Her sisters grew suspicious and uncomfortable. "Nambi, we should return. Father wouldn't approve of us being here." But Nambi couldn't tear her eyes away from Kintu. "You go ahead," she said softly. "I wish to learn more about this world." Days turned into weeks. Nambi taught Kintu about the wonders of heaven, while he showed her the simple beauties of earth, the way dew formed on leaves at dawn, how his cow's milk nourished him, the songs of birds at twilight. And with each passing day, they fell deeper and deeper in love. One night, under the silver light of a full moon, beside a crackling fire, Kintu took Nambi's hands in his. "Nambi," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "I cannot imagine returning to my life alone. Stay with me, be my wife, and together we'll fill this lonely earth with life and laughter." Nambi's eyes shone with tears of joy. "Yes," she cried, "yes, I will marry you." But when Nambi returned to heaven and told her father of her intentions, the great King Gulu was not pleased. "A daughter of heaven marry an earthly man?" Gulu's voice rumbled like thunder. "How do I know he is worthy? How do I know he can provide for you?" "Father, he has a cow," Nambi pleaded. "She gives him milk and all he needs to survive." Gulu stroked his distinguished beard thoughtfully. "A cow? One cow?" He leaned forward on his golden throne. "Very well. If this man is truly worthy of my daughter, he won't mind completing a few When Nambi returned to earth to tell Kintu, her face was troubled with worry. "My father has agreed to our marriage," she said, "but you must pass his tests. Kintu, they won't be easy." Kintu stood tall, his voice filled with determination. "For you, I would move mountains. What must I do?" Nambi's voice dropped to a whisper. "There's something else. While I was away, my brothers stole Namugulu. They've taken her to heaven." "Namugulu!" Kintu's heart shattered. His only companion, his dearest friend, gone. Nambi placed a gentle hand on his arm. "You'll see her again, but the journey ahead will test everything within you. Trust me." And so Kintu climbed the golden stairway to heaven, each step taking him higher into the realm of the gods. When he arrived, he was overwhelmed by its magnificence: golden palaces, gardens of impossible beauty, light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. But he stood tall before the great king. "So," Gulu boomed, "you wish to marry my daughter? Then prove yourself worthy. Here is your first task." A massive pile of food appeared before Kintu, enough to feed 100 men. Roasted meats, fruits, vegetables, grains, dishes piled higher than his head. "Eat all of this food," Gulu commanded, "every last grain, every morsel. If you cannot, you are not the man for my daughter." Kintu began to eat. He ate and ate until his stomach ached, but the pile seemed endless. Just when he thought he would fail, the earth itself opened beside him, a deep crack in the golden floor. A mysterious voice whispered, "Throw the food into the crack. The earth will help you." Quickly, Kintu discarded the food into the opening. It closed, and the task was complete. Gulu arrived, his eyes wide with surprise. "Impressive. But now, your second task." An enormous boulder appeared with a small axe beside it. "Chop up this rock," Gulu ordered, "and bring me firewood from it by sunrise." As night fell, Kintu struck the rock with all his might. The axe shattered. Stone cannot become wood. This was impossible. But then Kintu noticed something. Near the golden pillars lay a pile of dry branches, left there by the heavenly gardeners. With a clever smile, Kintu gathered the branches and presented them at sunrise. Gulu shook his head, frustrated but impressed. "Your third task," he said, his voice tight. "I need water from the well, but you must fetch it using this." He handed Kintu a bucket, woven entirely from straw, a bucket with gaps so large that light passed straight through. Kintu stared at the impossible bucket. Water would pour through it like a sieve. All day he pondered the puzzle. As night fell and he drifted into exhausted sleep, the divine powers took pity on him. By morning, heaven was covered in thick frost and dew. When Kintu awoke, he saw that ice crystals had formed in the gaps of the straw bucket, sealing it perfectly. He rushed to the well and drew water, and it stayed. The ice held the water within. "Remarkable," Gulu admitted. "But your final task will be truly impossible." The king led Kintu to an endless field filled with 10,000 cattle, all of them identical. Brown and white, spotted-ankled cows with curved horns, each one looking exactly like every other. "Find your cow among them by sundown," Gulu commanded, "or you will never see my daughter again." Kintu walked among the thousands upon thousands of cattle, his heart sinking with each step. How could he ever find Namugulu in this impossible sea of identical animals? Then something miraculous happened. A tiny bee landed on his shoulder. "Kintu," it said in a voice like tinkling bells, "I will help you. Watch for the cow I land upon." The bee flew across the vast herd, weaving between the cattle. Kintu followed, his eyes never leaving the glowing insect. Finally, the bee circled one cow's horn and landed gently upon it. Kintu looked at the cow's face, and he knew. Those gentle eyes, that familiar pattern of spots, the way she held her head. "Namugulu," he cried, running forward. "My dear friend." The cow mooed in recognition and nuzzled him lovingly. Gulu appeared, and for the first time he looked truly defeated, but also genuinely impressed. "You have passed every test," the king said solemnly. "You have shown resourcefulness, humility, and determination. You are worthy of my daughter." His voice became stern and warning. "But hear me now, Kintu. This is my final warning. When you and Nambi leave for Earth, do not turn back. No matter what you forget, no matter what you hear, do not return to heaven. Do you understand?" Kintu bowed deeply. "I understand, great Gulu." And so Kintu and Nambi were married in a magnificent celebration. The heavens rang with music, dancing, and joy. Gulu blessed them with cattle and provisions for their new life together. With hearts full of love and hope, Kintu and Nambi began their descent to earth, ready to build their life together. But halfway down, Nambi suddenly stopped. "Oh no," she gasped. "Kintu, I forgot the grain for the chickens. We must go back." "No," Kintu said firmly. "Your father warned us never to return." "But the chickens will starve," Nambi pleaded. "It will only take a moment. Please, my love." Kintu's resolve weakened. "Very well, but hurry. I have a terrible feeling about this." What Nambi didn't know was that her brother Walumbe, whose very name means death, had been watching. Angry that he wasn't invited to the wedding, he had been waiting in the shadows for his chance. As Nambi rushed back for the grain, Walumbe slipped from his hiding place. "Sister goes to earth," he hissed. "Then so shall I. Let me see what gifts I can bring to humankind." For a time, Kintu and Nambi lived in perfect happiness. They built a home, tended their cattle, planted crops. Soon, children filled their compound with laughter and joy. They became the father and mother of the Buganda people, and life flourished under their care. But then, one day, a cold shadow fell across their homestead. Walumbe stepped from the forest, his presence bringing a chill to the air. "Walumbe!" Nambi cried. "No! Go back to heaven. You weren't meant to follow us." "But you returned, dear sister," Walumbe said, circling them like a predator. "You broke Father's command. That opened the door for me. Now I'm here, and here I'll stay." "What do you want from us?" Kintu demanded. Walumbe's eyes gleamed with malice. "Oh, nothing much. Just one of your children, to help me with tasks. Surely you can spare one." "Never!" Kintu stepped protectively in front of his children. "You will not touch them." Walumbe's voice turned ice cold. "Then I shall take them." And so death came to earth. The first child fell ill, growing weaker each day. Despite all of Kintu and Nambi's desperate efforts, the herbs, the prayers, the tears, the child's spirit left its small body. Nambi collapsed, sobbing. "This is my fault. I should have listened. I should never have gone back." Kintu held her as they both wept. Then, through his tears, he raised his hands to the sky. "Great Gulu," he shouted, "your son, Walumbe, has brought death to our children. Please, send help." Thunder rolled across the heavens. A figure descended in golden light. Kayikuzi, another son of Gulu, a mighty warrior. "Father has sent me to capture Walumbe and bring him back to heaven," Kayikuzi announced. "Stand aside." An epic chase began. Kayikuzi pursued his brother across mountains and valleys, through forests and plains. But death is cunning, and death is quick. Just as Kayikuzi was about to catch him, Walumbe disappeared into a hole in the ground. "You cannot catch me, brother," his voice echoed from below. "I will hide in the earth, and from here I will emerge whenever I please to take whom I wish." Kayikuzi turned to Kintu and Nambi, frustration clear on his face. "I cannot reach him in his hiding place, but I will tell you this. When Walumbe emerges to take another victim, you must remain absolutely silent. Don't let him know he's been seen. If you can do this, I can catch him and end this curse forever." Days passed. The family waited in tense silence. Then one afternoon, the children spotted movement near the trees. "Look," a little girl cried, pointing. "There's Uncle Walumbe." Instantly, Walumbe vanished back into the earth. Kayikuzi arrived moments later, his face heavy with sadness. "You could not stay silent," he said gently. "Now Walumbe will remain on earth forever. I must return to heaven. I'm so sorry." And so death remained in the world. Because Nambi returned to heaven for grain, Walumbe followed her to earth. From that day forward, death has walked among humans. Years passed. Kintu and Nambi grew old together, their hair turning grey, their faces marked by the lines of both sorrow and joy. One evening, they stood on a hill overlooking their village, now filled with dozens of huts, hundreds of their descendants, living, loving, and thriving. "I brought death to our children," Nambi whispered. "Can you ever forgive me?" Kintu held her gently. "We brought life too, my love. Look at them, our children, their children, and all who will come after. Yes, death is part of their story, but so is love, courage, and community. That is our true legacy." And so Kintu and Nambi became the first ancestors of the Buganda people. They taught their children to live fully, to love deeply, and to honour the delicate balance between the earthly and the divine. Though death walks among us still, so too does life, so too does laughter. So too does the enduring, unbreakable spirit of humanity. The legend of Kintu and Nambi reminds us that our choices have consequences, that love requires sacrifice, and that even in the face of loss, we must cherish the precious gift of life. This is the story of our beginning, told around fires for generations, preserved in memory and honoured in tradition. This is the story of Kintu and Nambi.